Welcome to my world history notes, where I read from a book I wrote to teach homeschoolers about history. A Bible Believer Looks at World History. You can find it on lulu.com, amazon.com, or at the Bible Baptist Bookstore, or just follow me here. The important thing is I discuss events and things that a Christian should know about world history. You do not have to agree with my conclusions. You might even argue with my conclusions. That's not the point. The point is that at least you should know about these people and events, and then have an understanding of world history or have your own views. And so I'm going to start today. If you'll just bear with me, I apologize. I missed yesterday because I was very sick. All right, so I'm starting in chapter 5 of the book, From Majesty to Mockery. The period of time covered in this, what I'm teaching, from 1004 BC and the dedicating of the temple until 588 BC. This is for this topic that I'm on now. This is the time frame. And Jerusalem's destruction by the captain of Nebuchadnezzar's guard is called the Fifth Age of the World by Archbishop Usher. Solomon has built the temple, dedicated it, and finished his own palace, as you will find by continuing to read the biblical narrative. By the time the ancient historians, excuse me, tell us that Shishak, also called Saphoncus in the Egyptian chronology, came to rule in Egypt in 978 BC. Some equate the Shishak in the Bible with Sheshonq I. I apologize. I was very sick yesterday and throwing up and everything, and my throat is still raw. Sheshonq I, founder of the 22nd dynasty of Egypt, called the Libyan dynasty, and the temporary takeover of Egypt. It is said that he reigned from 945 to 924, in distinction to Usher's date. K.A. Kitchen, in his ancient Egyptian chronology for Aegianists, recently published in Mediterranean Archaeology and Archaeometry, 2002, moves the date of his reign up to 925 BC and declares unequivocally that Shishak and Shishonq I are the same king. The Harper Encyclopedia of Military History places the reign of David from 1010 to 973, and the reign of Solomon from 973 to 933 BC. Usher has David's reign end with his death in 1015 BC, and Solomon ends in 975 BC. The difference in dates is so minimal as not to be important. I just want you to be aware that there is no absolute agreement on dating at such a great distance in the past. Solomon's son Rehoboam begins his reign in 975 BC, according to Usher, and by his harsh attitude lost the 10 northern tribes of Israel, who proceeded to stray from the true worship of God, while the southern kingdom is known as Judah. According to Josephus, the Jews kept the solemn fast in memory of this disaster on the 23rd day of the month, called Sivan. Jeroboam promotes pagan idolatry in 1 Kings 12:25 to 31. By the way, if I mispronounce a word, you find that a word should have been pronounced differently, that's fine. Maybe let me know in the comments. Always look for corrections. In 971 BC, Shishak, possibly invited by Jeroboam, with whom he lived for a time, invaded Judah and attacked Jerusalem. All of the treasure of the temple and the king's house were what it cost to make him go away. The Egyptians received back all that their ancestors had given the Hebrews during the time of the Exodus, not the specific items, probably, but the value. In 957 BC, King Abijah of Judah defeats Jeroboam in the bloodiest battle recorded in the Bible. Israel loses 500,000 men in the battle. Jeroboam's entire dynasty is wiped out by Baasha in the reign of his Jeroboam's son Nadab. In 941 BC, Zerah the Ethiopian invades Judah with 1,000,000 foot soldiers. King Asa of Judah met this army with 300,000 soldiers from Judah and 280,000 from the tribe of Benjamin. Now, I want to briefly compare a contrast between the disaster at Aphek and the Battle of Towton. In 929 BC, excuse me, I'm a cough. Baasha's entire dynasty in Israel is eliminated when Zimri rebels and assassinates his son, Elah, and all of his descendants. The traitor only rules for 7 days before his overthrow and death. The Syrian disaster at Aphek in 1 Kings 20:30 takes place in 900 BC. Modern historians scoff at the body count, as they did with regard to the Battle of Towton, which took place on the snowy Palm Sunday in 1461 in England's War of the Roses. While the chroniclers of the time offered a count of nearly 500,000 engaged in the battle, with 30,000 dead, Modern historians would only admit that a late medieval army could only field 10,000 or so. So we were told that the people whose livelihood depended on counting sheep and chickens could not count soldiers or corpses. However, the excavations at Towton since 1996 have produced a count in the tens of thousands. I've read 30,000. I noted that in my book. I've also read 20,000. They only found a very small number of complete skeletons, but the evidence showed that tens of thousands of people have been massacred. So don't dismiss the Aphek account too easily. History might someday catch up to the Bible. God's hand in each of the aforementioned events is clearly seen and explained in the Bible account, explanations that no secular historian would accept. So we're going to continue um, next time with the topic Dynasties Ruined. And I look forward to doing this again. I hope you have a good day. And if you just dig into your in history and compare what you read with other things, don't just read one source.